So when you go to remove your T-top trim and these felt weather strip pieces, one of the first things you're going to want to do is find your rivets. There's going to be 2 on the corner, 2 in the middle, and 1 at the end. Now mine is an 87 and it has 2 individual pieces of felt. You can see back here I've got a trim piece here that covers up these. This felt does not go all the way across like it does on some of the earlier versions. So you have to order a 1 piece and cut it to fit. So I've already peeled off the piece on the front on the passenger side, and I labeled it passenger front so I can keep it for reference of how to cut it and trim it to get it to fit around the corner and to get the right length. So once you get your rivets, you're going to get you a punch that's small enough to punch out the center. You get one small enough to punch out the center. Be very careful not to get one that's too big and start to actually making the hole bigger that you're trying to put the rivet into. Now I've had some luck in the past where once I punch the center out, I can wiggle the rivet enough and I might be able to get the rivet out without drilling the head off. If those rivets do not come out, and they shouldn't, but these are not the factory ones. So if you do have to drill them out, you're going to want to get you a drill bit that's just big enough to kind of drill the head off and just do little light bursts. Don't let it spin too long. You're just going to take like just little bits at a time until the head of that rivet comes off and start spinning with the drill bit. Don't push on that and go through the hole, or else you're going to have a bigger hole than you're supposed to, and you may have trouble finding rivets that'll work, and then you're in a pickle. So if I get one where I have to do that, I'll show you. So here's an example where I pushed the center piece of the rivet, and you can see the rivet is fairly loose, and I just wiggle on that and I was able to get that one out. These 2 on the corner I pushed in and they're not budging, so I'm gonna have to address those a different way. Now this one here, I punched out the center. It does have a little bit of wiggle to it, but you don't want to really wallow it out and make the hole bigger that the rivet goes in. So if it's not easily coming out, don't wobble back and forth on it with something in that hole trying to get it to come out. Another thing you can do is get you a pair of pliers like this, cutters, and if it'll come out just far enough, you might be able to get them back behind it. Basically all I did was just use those side cutters and then just cut the head off of it as I was trying to get behind it. So that makes it easy. Now I just push that in with a little bit bigger of a punch, and I won't have to deal with any drilling out the head or cleaning up any chips from drilling that out. So no big deal. And I was able to get a punch that matches up to the size of the hole. I punched it through, and that one also came out. So now I'll just work on these guys. I started drilling on those, and they eventually popped out after the head was about drilled off of them. I never had to go into the hole. And this one over here, got that one drilled off. Need to vacuum it up and then push the piece back on in. It'll fall down in the car since I got the headliner out, so I'll be able to find them and throw them away. And so now we'll start peeling away at this felt strip. And that's what I thought. It didn't take much for that to want to pry off. When I buy the new stuff to put on, I will be buying some adhesive promoter, and the trim will be repainted by then, and I'll do some adhesive promoter. Depending on how the adhesive looks when I get the felt, I may just try try to take it off and put some new 3M adhesive on it myself. We'll see. I don't know if I can do that or not, but we'll give it the best shot it's got by putting the adhesive promoter on before I install it. All right, now these trim pieces will have butyl under them. Mine will be fairly good and sticky since I've replaced it just a couple of years ago, but if you're on the original stuff, it may just come right off. We'll see how this works. Yeah, okay, so again, I have a two-piece style trim, so you just pull that out from this little cap in the middle once your rivets are out, and this is what I'll be cleaning up and sanding down and repainting. You can see that trim is not very good. I should have taken the time to done all that a few years ago when I put all this new weather stripping in, but I didn't. I left it like it was, so we'll get that taken care of. And with the trim off on the passenger side on both the front and the back, you'll see more rivets there. For any of you that have ever wondered why your roof will push down, it's because those probably factory rivets have rusted out, and that's what's holding your skin of your roof to the frame of underneath it, and these rivets are what keeps that in place. I replaced all of mine back when I took this apart again a couple years ago, but some of you, if you've never taken it apart before, you'll probably see a lot of rusted out or missing rivets, and that's why your roof is pushing down. Mine all still look good. I'm not seeing any movement when I push around, so just FYI. There's what usually happens when you're drilling them out. The head will just spin off. That's why you just little bursts and don't put a lot of pressure on it. And that's all you need. Then you can push the rest through. And once you get the other piece of trim off, you'll see that that little cap just sits in the channel. The trim on each side goes under it, and then it gets riveted in through so that it holds it in place. So you can't remove that unless you take the rivets out, and then this will come out. Well, that wraps up another one. Got this trim taken off, and I got a lot of cleaning up to do on it. Did a little work off camera. All right, I've been cleaning off all the old adhesive. Several layers of paint looks like has been on these. I've went through a few stages of sandpaper. I think I've used some 300, some 400, here's some 600, and 800 maybe in a couple spots. So really trying to take my time, get a lot of these layers off, get it smoothed out, so I can get a really good finish on it with some SEM trim black. I've also been doing the same thing on the front window trim. This is all the passenger side. I do one side at a time, so I can always go look at the opposite side that hasn't been touched yet and make sure I know exactly how everything's supposed to look. And I'll do another video probably to talk more in depth on getting the trim done. I'll talk about all the different types of wheels I've used and what I had the best results with, including the brush over here. So we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, just a little bit at a time. Been getting all the old adhesive and silicone off of this guy, and I'll talk about what I used to finally get that all cleaned up real well too. So more to come. Thanks everyone. Talk to you later.